This KHOU 11 special presentation, A Common Thread, is presented by Reliant and Chevron.
Girl, I have a meeting in about 2 minutes. I don't even know what this meeting is about. I don't even know who the participants are. I'm just gonna call in early and be on mute.
Welcome to the audio conferencing center. Please enter a conference ID followed by pound. The leader has not yet joined the meeting. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, here they come. Okay.
Good morning, Ms. Brown. This is Joanna from IT. I have Robin from HR with me.
I'm getting laid on.
Hi, Letisa. This is Robin from HR. We're making changes, and we have to let you go, effective immediately. Best of luck to you.
I've been volunteering at Dress for Success Houston since 2000, practically almost as long as I've been in television. Look at me, I was a baby back in 2004. And in doing my volunteering, whether it was dressing women or giving them the speaking skills that they needed, I learned about their stories and what they have experienced in life. And as a journalist, but most importantly, as a human being with compassion and caring and wanting to see others succeed, I wanted to share those stories with others.
Hi.
So good
How
to
are
see
you?
Mwah.
Good to see you.
Wonderful. We're so excited. Excited to share with the greater community the good work that goes on here at Dress for Success. So who do you have here? Did you pull some together already?
Yes, so we have a few ladies who have been ambassadors for us in the past.
It's a good looking group. Let me say that.
It's a
Everyone
great
looks
lady.
great.
Thank you.
I would say about Letisa is she's electric. She just gives off a positive energy.
And she's taken an advantage of Speak for Success.
She has. I was going to say
Yeah.
she's a familiar face. I thought I
Yes.
recognized
Yes.
her. I can't forget that smile. She's got a great
Beautiful smile.
Very attentive at Speak for Success. That's what I noticed.
I think she'd be great.
Well, hello, welcome, ladies, to Speak for Success. We have a rather ambitious agenda.
My name is Letisa Brown, and I am originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. I've been in information systems since I went to college. I pretty much controlled my career. I controlled everything about it. I took my own stuff into my own hands. I didn't really allow it, just throw it up in the air and see where it fell. No, that just wasn't me.
I'd like for you ladies to get warmed up with the tongue twisters, pencil down some goals.
I've always prepared. I'm planned. I know my next move. What am I gonna do next? I'll look into the market. Okay, this is what you wanna do. This is what you need to get. I prepared myself, and that lasted for 16 years. So you're better with T's than you are for S's. Okay. The tip of the tongue. Until I got laid off. And it was the first time I was without a job. This was the first time I felt helpless. I could not control the situation. And I remember my daughter was home from college on her spring break, and I went in the room and I just told her, I said, I just lost my job. I was fine when they told me, but when I told her, I immediately shed tears because she was like, Mama, what we gonna do? Financially, I was okay to last for 6 months, financially, but emotionally, it was different. Emotionally, it was different.
Some other ladies that we looked at, we can kind of go through here. Melissa's great, and Isabel. Karma is a single mom of 5, and she's excelled in the oil and gas industry, made it through layoffs.
And a lot of women, as you mentioned from the statistics, will be able to relate.
Yes.
Being a divorcee and being able to care for your own children and
Exactly.
provide for them. So I think we can add her to the short pile.
Out the door. Come on, Chris, hurry up. Stay, puppy.
Mom! You guys empty the car like I asked? Yeah, we got the truck out. Okay, good.
My name is Carmel Ako, and I'm 42 years old. I'm actually a project manager in oil and gas.
Goody Diddy, you dropped your markers.
I like it a lot. It was a big change from what I've done before.
Alrighty, we're actually halfway through the car. Is Chris coming? Yes, he is coming.
Oil and gas is really a professional environment, so I was really career driven and wanted to have a career, and that's been really good. I've enjoyed that a lot.
Hey, Mom? Yeah, baby? My teacher's making me do homework this weekend. Yes. Oh my goodness, she is? I like this teacher. I don't. You know, she's only doing it for your own good, right? Because if you have a lot more practice, you're gonna get a lot better. But how much free time do you really need? A lot. Without a doubt.
As a kid, I grew up with 4 brothers. It was my mom and dad and my 4 brothers and I, so there were 7 of us, and we struggled quite a bit. We were a single income family.
Sundays is like herding cats.
I actually was born in Oklahoma. My father was in the military, so we did a lot of traveling. I grew up with a mom, 5 kids, same situation, divorced, single, struggling. And then I repeated that whole cycle. And I think about my kids, and I think, okay, something has got to change.
Girls, poster board, come pick your color.
Mom, they have kinetics, and could I have kinetic walk?
Okay. Let me see. Let me see about that. Go by Chloe, Maddie. Oh, there you go. Poster boards, you gotta pick your color.
I went to college, and about my 3rd year, I started having medical complications, and the doctors told me, okay, get off birth control because you may have problems. I conceived in the first month, so it was like, oh, well, now what do I do? And then it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, I know. Alrighty, guys. We're gonna do 2 separate orders, okay? So that way I can get a 20% off of one, and then
My first 3 were all 18 months apart, so it was like boom, boom, boom. And getting back into school was very difficult, very hard. I kept trying, and it just wasn't working out. So I did try a couple of careers, a little bit of customer service, a little bit of HR. Entrepreneurship taught me a lot about leadership and working in chaotic environments, moving fast, but there's not a lot of money a lot of times when we were in business. So it was feast or famine many times. And I was so busy just trying to make life happen and keep moving forward and stay positive that I really didn't have a moment to stop and think. It was just the drive to keep moving forward. When I separated, I had to start looking for work again to take care of me and the kids. I have a large family. I need to make a certain amount of income. And a lot of times to get to that income, that rank of income that I needed to be at, in order to take care of my family, I need the education because they're requiring the degree. We went in so many different avenues. IT was our best business. We even had a restaurant over in Cinco Ranch, and the economy took a hit. Very often, we'd be without electricity or without water. The water gets shut off. A lot of times, I had to apply for social services in order to get help with food, or even sometimes to pay the bills. And that happens sometimes when you're an entrepreneur.
Okay, get the poster board. Let's go. We gotta go. We're on a mission. We're running out of time.
Things just kept happening. Finances, economical. I needed to work to help keep things together. I had to stay home with the kids a couple of times, like just as I was getting started or just as I'd start a career, I'd have another one, and it was like,
Come on, guys. We gotta hurry. Right?
Get off the floor.
Tristan, come on.
Houston's a melting pot, and Zainab is one of our incredible ambassadors. Her family moved here from Lebanon.
She's somebody who's extremely bright, very capable.
You sound so proud. You sound like a proud mama.
I am. She's a remarkable young woman.
My name is Zainab Kashmar Zahid. My maiden name is Kashmar because I recently just got married, so I'm still like telling people both names. I'm 27, I'm an attorney. My parents are immigrants, they came from Lebanon, but we were all raised here. I was born in California. We moved here when I was 10 months old, so we've lived in the same house my whole life. I'm definitely a Houston kid. My family's originally Lebanese, and my husband's family's originally Syrian, so we're all about all the Arab stuff. My parents basically raised us in like a little bubble, so we didn't actually know we were in America until we went to school. We were like, wait, not everybody's Arab, it's just us. Like, that's crazy. I've been wearing my hijab since I was 8 years old, and I used to get like the weirdest questions. So I would get like, do you shower with that thing on? And I'm like, no, I don't shower. Smile, can you help me carry the tea, babe? I was like born and raised here, but I always get the question like, oh, so where are you from? And then when I say I'm from here, people are like, no, where are you actually from? I'm like, no, I'm actually from here, you know? I actually was born and raised here. People compliment my English all the time. Like, your English is so good. I'm like, thanks, you know? Thank you so much, that's great. I'm the oldest of 4 kids. I have 2 younger brothers and a younger sister. We never knew it, but my dad worked like crazy to get us by. I'm not sure how he clawed his way up, but he got enough money to like buy a gas station, and then he started flipping gas stations as a business. Like, he would buy it and fix it up and then sell it for a profit. And he was able to do all of that because my mom was a trooper and she was staying home raising 4 kids by herself the days that he couldn't show up, and even the days that he could show up because he was so exhausted because he worked most of the days. I went to this new place while I was at work today. It's called the Path of Tea. It's like a little Asian place, and all they serve is tea.
I saw the pictures.
It's so weird.
I did.
It's amazing. We were never a family that had a ton of money, but as kids we didn't notice it because we had everything we needed. But I was a little bookworm when I was little. I had a public library card, and I would like make my mom take me once a week, and I'd check out like a stack of books and then read all of them and bring them back, and I was that kid. I loved reading, I loved English, so I ended up majoring in English when I went to U of H, and then obviously that turned into going to law school. Almost everyone of ordinary information understands very well what is meant by the word law. But my dad stopped working for health reasons, and he was actually in the hospital for like 6 or 7 weeks. It was clear that he wasn't going to be able to go back to work. I had a big scholarship to U of H. I didn't need to take out all the student loans, but my family needed me to. It was never a question. It was just something that I did because it was what I should have done.
I am so tired of saying, girl, I'm so proud of you. Every time you look around, she's doing something spectacular. When is it going to stop?
You know what? I was just talking about that yesterday. I'm just getting started.
That's good.
I'm just getting started.
I grew up in a low-income
family. I always like to say I was 1 foot out of the projects.
If you would have told me this would have been me 7, 8 years ago, and I'd be like,
Oh, no, I go way back.
You go way back?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. We didn't get along. She had to have the last word. You was so flip. So flip.
I challenged the system. I challenged. Ain't you
challenged
say this? I'm like, why?
An adult.
Yeah, why? Why we gotta do it like that? Why? You know, and I understand it as a kid because I said so. That's why.
Yeah.
Don't ask me nothing because I said so.
Yeah, I said it.
I know.
My mom worked a minimum wage job to take care of 4 girls. So there's not a big quality of life right there.
Don't come in my kitchen.
Well, I know. We know how you are about coming in your kitchen. You know, I know you talk about how opinionated that I said opinionated, but has it changed much? Have I got better with it?
Yeah, you change your life. You change all kinds of ways. For one thing, you help take care of me.
That's the least I could do for you. It's the least. Yeah. I was a bookworm, I have to say. I graduated second in my high school class, and I was a part of ROTC. I knew I wanted to go to college, but my family paying for it was not something that they could do. My mom still had 3 other girls. I got a C one time, a D one time, and you went off on me so bad. I'm like, but I'm an honor roll student. I'm in the top 10 of my class. Why are you fussing at me? Because I got a D.
Because I know what you could do.
And that's what she told me. I know what you can do, and I know what they can do. And I'm like, okay.
I wanted y'all to didn't have to struggle like I had to struggle. That's why I pushed so hard.
I wanted different. I was not going to not go to college by any means necessary, and the military was my way to college. I was very happy because after I graduated, I had somewhere to go, and I knew when I got out of the military, going to college was not optional. It was mandatory because I had the financing to be able to pay my own way without putting that stress on my mom. You know, we've all had our challenges in life. You had your challenges, I had my challenges, and it all, you know, shapes us and make us who we are. So how do you think I handle the challenges in my life?
You are a strong person. You're very strong. You help everybody, no matter who it is. You can always call on you and say, Tisha, just like everybody calls on me.
I always said, I get that helping nature from you. This is messed up.
I don't know why she put that out. I don't know why. I was a pancake in the skillet.
I got pregnant when I was 19. I was in the military and I had my son. So I was a single parent. He was born in Georgia when I was in the military. I got deployed. And my son went to my mom. She was my care provider. He was there with her for the 6 months while I was deployed. And then it was time for me to come home, and I went to get him. And he was like, no, no, no. I like being with grandmother. I like being around my cousins, my aunties, because it was just me and him in Georgia. And I'm like, but you're my child. You're coming back to Georgia with me. So when I came home 6 months later, I took him back, and he just was not the same child. He was not. And my mom had already been saying, just let him stay. You have 8 months left. Just let him stay. I said, but Mama, he's mine. She said, please just let him stay. I said, okay. 8 months, I'll be back home. So I spent a lot of time back and forth from Georgia to New Orleans to spend time with my son. So normally when I used to come home, I would stop here first and I'll pull up and I'll see if he was playing. If he was playing, then I'll just pull to the side and I'll bump my horn and he'll look and see it's me, give him that little finger like I see you, and then I'll just stand at the fence and just wait for him to get a break in, and he'll come either give me a sweaty hug, you know.
And that was okay?
Yeah, get your sweaty self off of me. Yeah, and then he'll give me a kiss on, I'll see you at Mama house. I said, okay, I'll see you at Mama house, but this was his home most of the time. It's amazing because I've never stepped on this court. I've never stepped
Never.
never ever stepped on this court.
Now, why didn't you come over here? Why did you stand off to the side when you used to come? Did you want to be like, I know.
Yeah, that's my mama. All the boys out here, and I didn't want to, go run to your mommy and give your mommy a kiss. So I just stood to the side, and hey, I'm standing out here. So. Yeah.
And he loved basketball.
Oh, yes.
Since he was a boy.
Yes. He wasn't always good at it. I remember when I put him in biddy ball, and I was like, oh my goodness, I think we need to choose another sport. But, he just was persistent, and I think he really learned the game right here in the neighborhood. He learned, I watched him just shoot. So he went to New Orleans, and he was there, but he lived his best life. When he was home with my mom and my family, they developed a bond at that time. One that when I moved to Houston, it tore him apart again. We were here for about 4 or 5 years, and he was turning to his teenage years. And he said, Mom, I just want to go back home to Grandma. I said, but you don't belong there. You belong with me.
Just to give you the looks of desperation, just to paint a picture for you of what these people are going through. It's just a devastating sight to see.
Well, Hurricane Katrina happened, and I had 30 people in my house. And so he got all his cousins back. He got my mom. He got my aunties. So he was happy. When everybody left, one by one, they were starting their lives over again. He became sad. He was losing his family again. And he started acting out. So we got him counseling, and the counselor said, if you have someone at home that can take him, let him go. I said, but he's my child. She said, let him go. I said, okay.
Build-A-Bear, 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 Build-A-Bear. Where's Build-A-Bear? 5 kids is busy. Me and my husband, at the time, we tried working split shifts. One of us would work days, one of us would work nights. We never saw each other. It was handing off the kids. We gotta make Build-A-Bear before they close. At those times, we're trying to make things work with the business, and that was really, really hard. And we actually flooded in Ike. It was the struggle afterwards, and we had our business, but the recession, the flood, everything knocked us down. And it was tough on the relationship. We had another kid. My Tristan is our Ike baby. It was a terrifying situation, separating after 20 years. And then I went through bankruptcy in 2016. So it's been a tumultuous several years. When I separated, I had to start looking for work again to take care of me and the kids. I was referred to Dress for Success through a program that I was looking at, and I did not realize the impact it was going to have on my life.
Okay, and give him a big hug. Is he cuddly enough? Yeah?
Over the last 3 years, we built a home. We started actually having savings. I had 2 cars, cars I was getting for my kids because they were turning of age.
And then put it back on your nose. Close your eyes and make a big wish.
And Harvey hit. And it took us back to square one.
This is your old neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah. The neighborhood you love so much?
Oh my gosh, yes. I love this neighborhood. My kids grew up their younger years here, and it was where they were the happiest. We had such a sense of community.
Very family-oriented.
Completely. Unlike any neighborhood I've ever been in.
Take me back to when you were living in this house and Harvey came and flooded.
Quickly down to the center of the storm, and this is an historical night. First Category 4 hurricane to hit the Texas coast since Carla in '61.
That day Harvey hit, my kids were actually with their dad. So I ran up to the Target up the street to go shopping, get them some munchies and some games to play. I think Twister and a few other things, just to give them a little fun. I was gonna go home, stay with my cats. We had 3 cats at the time. And I guess it's a really good thing that my friends called and convinced me to go to the Woodlands.
And here comes this heavy rain band that continues to sit on us. Now it has moved, but not before causing this flood emergency across Harris County.
I went up there, and that night it rained and it began to flood. And I was keeping in constant contact with my neighbors. They were calling me saying, we're gonna flood.
That's that second rain band that's forming right there, and it's coming right up the west side where we've already had very heavy rain, and it's stationary. I mean, the individual storms were racing north, but the line itself is just not moving.
We were actually watching the news. We thought we were safe. We didn't have, we had heavy waters, but we didn't have water in the homes. Once they decided to open the floodgates, it seemed all of my neighbors started calling, okay, we're expected to flood this deep, we're expected to flood this deep. And sure enough, by mid-morning, it began to flood into the houses. We were in one of the hardest hit areas over at Clay Road and Barker Cypress. And we lost pretty much everything. Some of the saddest moments were when we went back to the house for the first time. We just walked in and we couldn't believe the devastation, how powerful the water was, that it had broken oak chairs to pieces. They just fell apart, moved furniture from one room to another. The septic situation, when the septic's backed up and broke down and polluted everything, and pretty much everything wasn't salvageable. That was hard. I just sat there like, oh gosh, I have got to start all over again.
Reliant is a proud sponsor of A Common Thread and a proud supporter of Dress for Success Houston.
Many people know Reliant is providing energy to their homes and businesses, but at Reliant, we also believe in being a positive force in the community. Reliant has partnered with Dress for Success for 15 years now, and to see that transformation of these women, it's worth everything that Reliant does with Dress for Success. To see that and to know that they are now being role models then for their children and other women in the community.
The programs that we provide the women beyond the suit allow them to not just land a job, but build a career and develop their personal and professional skills to achieve self-sufficiency that they need. To have a company that is as committed as Reliant is incredible for us. So over the past 15 years, Reliant has donated more than $320,000 to the mission of Dress for Success, allowing us to support over 40,000 women in the past 20 years.
It's so hard to pin down just like one thing because I feel like everything just kind of meshes together and that's what creates your success. It's a balance of like your family and your friends and your law school friends, which is just like a completely different animal because they know you so much better than everybody else because they did this too. I could tell you how hard it was 100 times and you will never understand how hard it was until you do it. I attribute my success to my family and my husband. Because even though he wasn't my husband, he stuck with me, and I don't think I would have stuck with me while I was in law school. I would have left myself just sitting on the floor crying, but like, I'm done. I'm gonna move on, you know?
Alright, so channel 1 is gonna be your wire, and I'm thinking...
I was in my first year of law school, and I was completely broke all the time. Law school's like $30,000 a year, and the books themselves are a couple of grand every semester, and you know, it's just an overwhelming amount of money. My grades weren't where I wanted them to be because everyone that goes to law school used to be a straight A student, and now it's just like a mandated curve that won't allow you to be a straight A student. Not everyone can be. I don't regret going to law school, but your first year of law school is like so emotionally exhausting. I don't know why I decided to do this.
How long ago was it when you first came to the States?
I came to Louisiana first.
Louisiana.
And then I went back to Lebanon, and then I went back in 1981, and I came back in 1987.
I bet coming here, especially to Louisiana, was that a bit of a culture shock when you arrived so many years ago?
Oh yeah. It's completely different, and you know, we came from a place where there's a war every day.
You were in business for yourself for years, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Did you spend a lot of time working and providing for the family, I'm sure?
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Yeah. It's like that when you have your own business, it had to be like that.
Yeah, I remember that little bed that came out of the wall. Yeah. That was pretty cool when we were little. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Cool to you. For Daddy's like, oh my goodness, finally I can lay my head down.
So much room. You have like a bed to lay down.
What was she like as a youngster? As a young, mean, oh my. No. She is an attorney now. So when she decided she wanted to be an attorney, what did you think about that?
Oh, he forced me into it. It was totally his idea since I was little.
I wanted to be an attorney, I couldn't, so somebody had to.
Now you have an attorney in the family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody forgets it.
So what did you guys think when your sister got her law degree?
Her degree was like a relief because we used to, when she lived here, we shared a room. Oh no. And she'd like either be up all night studying or crying about how stressed she is or just like angry because she was in law school.
So you were going through all the emotion.
And that's kind of where I was at. I was at the point where I was like, I really don't know why I did this. And I was starting to interview for summer positions. And one of my counselors who knew how frustrated I was with my grades, and she knew a little bit of my family situation and that, you know, maybe I had less money than some of the other kids that go to law school. She was like, there's this program. You don't have to do anything, just show up and they'll give you a suit for free, and that way you can have like a nicer suit to wear to your interviews. She was like, just go, they're called Dress for Success. No one's gonna ask you to do anything. I promise they'll just like put a suit on you and you'll leave and you never have to see anyone again. And I was like, okay, fine, free suit sounds great. So I was a little bit apprehensive when I went. It's not at all the image that is painted in your mind when you hear about the program.
I can't wait for my interview.
It starts with a suit, but that's just the beginning.
Picking up the pieces after Harvey has been a whirlwind. I did not know where to begin, to be honest. Where do you start? When I was starting all over, I was like, okay, I need absolutely everything. A few days, or maybe it was a week after or so, Dress for Success gave me a call and said, hey, we heard you flooded. We want to help. We have an event. Could you come? Dress for Success blew me away. I could not believe the magnitude of what they did. We went in and we were gifted with several outfits, several pairs of shoes. We got toiletries that were donated, shampoo, makeup, gift cards so that we could get some of the other things that we needed. The little things, I couldn't believe how fast they worked to turn around and help so many women that had gotten flooded. And when you walked in, it was this overwhelming feeling, the strength in everyone. Just kind of let us all know that it was gonna be okay. None of us were alone. We're all in it together. And that was so powerful. They're focused on the whole woman. Hair, body, mind, education, career, finance. It's incredible all the touch points that they have. All of these pieces that I hadn't actually paid a lot of attention to made a big difference. And I was able to keep my job.
We made a commitment that none of the women in the professional women's group who had suffered through Harvey were going to lose their jobs. We were going to do whatever it took to make sure they did not. And of the group, we sent out surveys to find out how they were. And with the group of women, hundreds, who were impacted, I can tell you so proudly, not one of them lost their jobs.
Dress for Success has been overwhelmingly positive in our lives. I long to be part of a community again. That was a really important goal. What I learned through Dress for Success when I was doing all of my financial planning, in my situation, it was important that I go ahead and I actually build an asset, that I actually get a home. We had rented and traveled back and forth so much that the drive to really have a stable home for my kids was so important. And we searched for months on a house, and then we finally found this one. and we jumped.
Kristen, do you want any chicken? What took so long? Why did you sit up? Oh, come on. Do you want chicken?
If I had never gone to Dress for Success, I wouldn't have pursued a professional career. The path would have been completely different. It would have been a lot harder. The fact that Dress for Success was there kept me focused, kept me learning. That pride knowing that we were able to get a house, that was amazing. Thanks to Dress for Success, I couldn't have done without it.
It was challenging for me when I got laid off. And I think at that time of aloneness with myself, I had to deal with a lot of that. I was forced to not avoid it anymore.
So this is your old neighborhood?
Yes, this is my old neighborhood. I grew up here. This is what's considered as Uptown New Orleans, 13th Ward.
This is also the neighborhood where your son was murdered.
Yes.
Take me back to that night and what happened, Letisa.
That night, I can remember I was at home in Houston and the phone rang and my sister was on the other line and she was crying.
Uptown neighbors lay flowers at the scene of last night's murder in the 5100 block of Ferret Street. This is where 19-year-old Earl Joseph Meeks lost his life.
We heard 3 gunshots in a row, and we just looked at my housemate and I looked at each other in disbelief, like, did somebody really just get shot?
Police say Meeks was leaving the bar Friar Tuck's when suddenly shots rang out. They found him lying in the street with a gunshot to the head.
Instantly, 1, 2, 3, he shot my son and he died right there by that tree next to the car. I wanted him to be like me, but he had his own way of doing things. I just didn't know he was actually listening to me. It wasn't until the visual, the funeral, the service, so many people came up to me and they shared their stories about him to me. I was definitely pleased at the young man that he was becoming.
He was a good baby, and I know that he's with the Lord right now.
Right.
And I'm gonna miss him dearly.
This is the closest I've been to this spot since the visual, which was 3 days after he died. This is the closest.
And how are you feeling tonight?
It's bringing back memories. I'm a private person, and I didn't talk to anyone to help me through the moments. I stayed to myself, and I dealt with a lot of the pain by myself.
There's a lot of guilt on my part because I did not want him to go.
Creating a new life after his death, that was difficult and it was challenging, and it wasn't something that I could have prepared myself for.
At Dress for Success, through our professional women's group, it does not stop here within the Veterans Program.
It was at a veterans job fair. I met Alicia. I told her I was laid off, and the veteran is what connected us. She said, just come to Dress for Success. I was like, I have a suit. I've been in corporate America 16 years. I really don't need any clothes, Alicia. And she said, Letisa, just come. Just come see what we're about. I said, okay. And I came. And sure enough, I did. I got the suit. But what I got else was a support group. The women just welcomed me. And at that time, I needed somebody. And they were my gift. They provided me an outlet to help to deal with some of the pain that I unearthed by being by myself. They were an organization that allowed me to grow and to also give back.
Here's my bedroom.
It's beautiful. Okay, so I'm interested to see your latest looks from Dress for Success.
Here's one of my favorite suits.
So you go once a month, you go for the PWG meeting typically?
One of the things that I really like about the suiting aspect of Dress for Success, once you go to PWG, you get a stamp. You get 4 stamps, you get to go shop.
Everything you need from head to toe.
And they pretty much take care of us from head to toe. So it's definitely an organization that I probably won't leave.
You're looking good.
Yes, I'm looking great.
I work at Matthias Adrogué PLLC. It's in Montrose. It's like a small firm, and that's awesome because I get to do a little bit of everything. Hey, how are you? Are Layla and Matthias here yet? Thanks. This is crazy. I can't believe that I'm actually a lawyer and that I actually made it through law school and that I was able to do this and that my dad was always right about everything, and I hate that. I love bragging on Dress for Success because I really feel like they made such a huge difference. I feel like they did make me feel really great about myself, which helped me a lot in the legal field as well. They forced me to network. They would like name drop me to other lawyers and they'd be like, yeah, she's our lawyer. They are so personally invested in my success that it helped me be successful.
Chevron is a proud sponsor of A Common Thread and a proud supporter of Dress for Success Houston.
What makes the relationship so great between Dress for Success and Chevron is the values that they share. For example, when a woman walks in the door at Dress for Success, she is treated with complete respect. She is given opportunities to improve herself, which improves the life of her family, and then that flows back to the community. And that's what Chevron's all about.
I am so proud of the relationship between Chevron and Dress for Success Houston. We contribute suits, we contribute money, but that money is then used to help our women, our clients, to build a better life for themselves. And you can see it day by day as the clients walk into the building and walk out, and you follow their careers, and you see how a simple thing like a suit has impacted their lives and the lives of their families.
God gives you a lot of gifts. I made a decision to write a book. And it's a book that's targeted to mothers who's lost their children. And I share my journey on how I found a new way of life, how I created a new norm for myself, because it's hard going through that journey. And if you don't have anyone to help you, if you don't know what to do, I'm just going to share my story with you in hopes that it touch you and give you some sort of footprint to find your way back. I would have never wrote that book if it wasn't for Dress for Success.
I am planning on going back for my degree. I had 3 years under my belt when I started having kids, so I'm anxious to go back, finish that year. I'm gonna show my kids that it doesn't matter what happens in life, and it doesn't matter whether you think or you can. If you work hard, you're gonna do it. I started over again when we moved here to Houston, started over again after Hurricane Ike, started over again after divorce, and started over again in Harvey. I'm just gonna keep on trucking. Just gonna keep on going, being positive, moving forward, and just surrounding myself with people who want to help and are on the same path that I am. I want to continue to grow and network with people who are where I want to be.
I still wear a suit from Dress for Success every time I go to court. It's hanging in my office, my one left Dress for Success suit that fits me. And I literally wear it all the time because it's like the perfect black suit and it goes with everything. I could probably afford to buy a nice suit now, but I just haven't bothered. It reminds me of all the struggle that I went through and like all the women that helped me along the way. So I love it. I'm probably gonna wear it until it's like on its last threads.
When these women walk through our doors, they have access to a networking group of women, many of them just like her, who's on this journey to success, and they walk the road together. And they realize they have so much in common, much more in common than they have differences.
We're fighters, never gonna give up, never gonna give up. I'll take your hand and you'll take mine. We'll conquer this thing they call life. We're fighters, never gonna give up, never gonna give up. No, I won't let you fight alone. We're confident and we'll stand strong. Better seems far, yeah, we all know the struggle's real, but you can't let go, 'cause you're trusted with this fight you're in. We're champions, we will win. I'm here to speak hope to you. If I made it, you can make it too. You may feel like life is over. I won't let you go. Together we'll make it through. You're never gonna give up. I'll take your hand. We're conquerors. We're conquerors. Yes, we are. Oh, we won't quit. And I'll stand with you. We'll stand strong.
Thank you for watching A Common Thread, presented by Reliant and Chevron.